Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I like that mood music. Yeah, that beard. Are we live?
If you're liking this, then dial us at 1-800. Oh, sorry, I was doing my talk dirty voice.
Happy New Year.
Same to you, buddy.
Many blessings, my friend.
Same to you, man.
Many blessings for you, for your family, for everybody.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to all of our listeners out there. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot my sunglasses. I was going to do the Howard Stern look today, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
Nah.
I look more like Chips from I look like a Hawaii 5-0 here. So let me take off my glasses.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's look, Jeff, it's a new year. It's a new day for us, a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
5:00 show. Our new day, same time. We're going to be back here every Tuesday going live on our Facebook channel. So thank you to all of our listeners. Happy New Year to everybody out there from us here at the Diamond Deals podcast. We got a great show today.
Yeah. Yeah, we got
exciting,
a cool show today.
exciting. It was a guy that man, I watched this team growing up, a New Yorker, Yankee fan, whatever. Everybody loved the 86 Mets.
Yep.
Everybody did. Especially as a Yankee fan, because who did they play to beat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So enough said on that one. The curse of the Bambino kept going on. And, for me, that was probably one of the most entertaining special group of players that ever existed on a team. Besides your Braves. I like the Braves as a unit.
Mm-hmm.
But you're talking about our guest, Wally Backman.
Yep.
Who will be here. I think he's in the green room already. He's ready to go. Love that guy.
Yeah.
You got Wally Backman. You had Tim Tuffle.
Yep.
You had Keith Hernandez.
Yep.
You had Gary Carter. You had Darryl Strawberry. Kevin Mitchell.
Yep.
Mookie Wilson. Lenny Dykstra.
Wasn't Howard Johnson on that team?
Ray Knight. Howard Johnson. Bro.
Yeah.
Then you had Gooden.
Yeah.
Sid Fernandez.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about Sid Fernandez.
I mean, that team was stacked. And they played like they were stacked. And it was just one of those teams you'll never forget.
I think what makes me laugh about them is I go back to when I was young, when they were around, obviously. And I remember the 86 Mets, and I remember the 86 Chicago Bears were out too. And they're both very similar clubs because they both were stacked. They partied hard. And I mean, let's face facts, dude. I mean, you got
you did the Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah, they had the Super Bowl shuffle, and then you had, the 86 Mets with I don't know, I can't believe I'm going to say this on a podcast, but between the blow and the women in that place, dude, I would have loved to have been on the 86 Mets, dude. I really would have.
Listen, it's again, you're saying something that who cares? We're a podcast. We can edit it out if we want to, but the truth of the matter is people knew it.
Yeah.
They knew what happened during those times. And that's what made the game even more fun to watch because you knew what you were getting. How about the fan that came running out on the field? How about the guy who parachuted into Shea Stadium?
Yeah.
Bro, I remember that like it was yesterday. I was only 8 years old when it happened.
I remember playing as the 86 Mets on what was that video game for Nintendo? I think it was like Hardball or RBI.
Bases Loaded.
Bases Loaded. There you go.
Good one.
Yeah, that was a good game. But I always was them. Even as a Braves fan, man, that sucked for me because the Braves sucked in the 80s. So, I mean, who was
that's why they get the Yankees stunk in the 80s.
Yeah.
So, and again, it wasn't that I was being a fair weather fan or whatever. I truly admired a lot of those guys. And one of them is going to be on our show today.
Awesome.
And not sure if our listeners know this, but I actually represent him. I help him out.
Nice.
It's been a really cool experience, not only to represent him, but to just know the man.
Mhm.
He's cool. My kids watch his YouTube. Some of the best lines you'll ever hear during an ejection.
I got to talk to this
oh
guy
my
then.
God.
Perfect.
I mean, we could pull one of them up later and we'll probably get banned from radio or from podcasts because I mean, he literally but you know what? That's why I respect him.
Yeah.
Because no holds barred, man. He went out there. He energized his team, his club when he managed because he was truthful, because he spoke the way you're supposed to speak. None of this, Olay garbage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? None of this, hey, man, you're doing a good job. Just get some more reps. No, bullshit.
Yeah.
Get in the cage.
Yeah.
You're getting ready to, I'll quote it literally. You're getting ready to play this team in the playoffs, okay, in the championship, and they just beat the crap out of you. What are you doing? You better come out here. Everybody be in the cages early tomorrow. Everybody be on top of their game. Early morning arrival. Not this coming at 4:00 shit.
Yeah.
You're getting here and you're doing your thing. That's what managing was about.
Yeah.
And that's why I respect
That's old school,
him.
man.
That's old school. It's old school. It's a part of the game that is no longer there. And I'll be the first one to say it. We talked about it with Glavin.
Yeah.
We talked about it with a few other people that we've had on the show so far. And that is the game has lost its fire a little bit because we put analytics into the game a little bit. Because it's taking, again, I disagreed with Glavin and he was cool with it. Don't get me wrong, but he had his points. I had my points. But what I really wanted to say to him was that fire is gone because you're utilizing something that people are being robotic to.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And that's what's making the game a little bit less enjoyable.
By the way, Mike Pitty wanted to let us know that Jesse Orozco closed out with the last pitch, by the way.
Yep.
So obviously he followed the 86 Mets.
Yes,
but
he did.
Before we get
threw his glove up in the air, Gary Carter came out and tackled him.
Yeah.
And they celebrated one of the most historic and memorable World Series that ever has been played. I'm sorry. Other than the earthquake in San Francisco or Oakland that year.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember that. There's a few other ones that you can really say were really memorable, and 86 Mets that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's the guy that the ball went through his legs?
Oh, Buckner.
Come on, man. I mean, how that was a slow roller to the first baseman, and it went through his legs.
Yeah.
To keep them alive.
Well, and that's the funny thing is how many, and I know we're gonna bring Wally on here in a second. Then I'm going to ask him about that too, or one of us is, I'm sure. But it's funny to hear Red Sox fans get so upset at that when at the same breath, I'm like, that was only game 6, man. Like you still had another game.
Amen.
And it just shows you, number one, and it's what I've tried to teach younger kids that I coach. This is called momentum. And when you end the game that way, that's how your body's going to start the game the next way, unless you change crap, man.
They got back at that years later.
Oh yeah,
they were up 3-0 against the Yankees.
Yeah. I'm
sorry. The Yankees were up 3-0 against them.
Yeah,
and the only team in history at that point in time to come back from a 3-0 deficit.
Yep,
they got it back. I mean, look, what would you rather happen? The ball go through his legs in Game 6, or be down 3-0 and come back and win?
Oh, I'd rather have the ball go there.
Yeah,
all day, because that's something mentally I can get over. But watching the team just fold for 4 games straight, that would destroy me.
Well, I agree with that. I think my point is as a fan.
Oh, as a fan?
Yeah.
I'd rather do the 4.
I take the 4, man. I mean, who cares? Look, that whole series wasn't defined by that one play. It was to a certain extent to get them to the next round, but there was opportunity there already.
Yeah.
And they still had one more game left. Yeah. This team came back from 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll never forget watching that. I mean, as a Yankee fan back in the day, now I love everybody. As Sid Rosenberg would say, love everybody. I love your family, love your kids, love everybody.
I should try to get him on with Wally since he's a huge Mets guy. But.
He is. But yeah, so I, as a Yankee fan, man, that was about as depressing as it got.
Yeah.
You down I can only think of one other one, and that was when we lost in 01.
Was that the Diamondbacks?
After September 11th.
Yep.
That was a tough one.
Yep.
So, look, great guy. We're going to bring him on here in just a few minutes. Wally, hang tight. I know you're in the green room. We're going to bring you on. We got a couple little things to get over.
He's drinking a beer or something before.
No, absolutely, he's drinking
beer. That makes me like
he's
this guy
having
more.
You know why? Because he's enjoying life, man. Enjoy life.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. Like,
live for the day.
Live for the day. You know, you don't need New Year's Eve and Christmas to enjoy life, because you don't know what's going to happen, man. We're coming up on the time when my mom passed away. I give anything to, it was weird when the ball dropped. I used to call her every year, text her every year, no matter what. Can't do that anymore. No. So enjoy life, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Live it like there's no tomorrow, as my grandfather used to say.
What do you got? You got some notes over here? Can I cheat off your paper?
You can if you want.
Okay.
So I just want to bring it up really fast since you were talking baseball here and being a Braves fan that I am.
Of course.
I was glad to see us take somebody from the Red Sox finally, which is always nice. So we took Chris Sale, and I had my 10-year-old walk out and say, "Is he any good?"
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
the Florida boy.
Yeah. And like I told him, I said, well, he's a 7-time All-Star, if that helps you at all.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, what did we give up? And I said, Vaughn Grissom. And he goes, okay. And I said,
who's that?
And they gave us, he's a backup shortstop.
No, I'm saying probably
exactly.
Jackson.
But I mean,
who's that?
He knew who he was.
Oh, he did?
And he knew who he was. And I said, but we gave him up, and they gave us Chris Sale and $17 million. And he goes, holy crap. And I'm like, I'll take it. That's like, because you need the rotation.
They win on that one.
Yeah. I want to say Happy New Year to Tiara and Chad, who are listening as well. I actually coached their two kids between the one on the undefeated team last season, just throwing that out there. And then the season before that went to the championship of the All-Star game. Yeah, I coached their kids. So
I want to give a special shout out, if you don't mind.
Sure.
This is my aunt by marriage. This is Aunt Barbara, who is a huge Met fan. Has season tickets every year.
Yeah.
Lives in Corona still to this day.
Yeah.
Which is about 5 minutes away from where Cheyenne, now Citi Field, is. Has lived there pretty much her whole life, and goes to the games. I'm sure she's on because Wally's there. Not that she doesn't listen to us.
Wally should give her a shout out. That'd be great.
Well,
we'll talk to him.
She would love to talk to Wally. And then, of course, my stepdaughter Kaylee got to meet Wally last summer when I took her over to see him manage.
Oh, nice.
Got a chance to see him and talk to him for a little bit. But it's going to be I can't wait, man. I can't wait to bring him on.
Let's bring him on.
You want to just bring him on now?
Yeah. What the hell?
You don't have anything else to do?
What else are we doing? We're sitting here talking crap.
Oh, well, let's just bring him on then.
Let's do it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor. It is Jeff and I's honor to welcome to our show somebody who I'm going to say it right now. I idolize this man on that team. I idolize the entire team. I've idolized him not only as an individual, as a player, as a manager. I get to represent him right now. His name is the 1986 World Series champion, Mr. Wally Backman. Please welcome to the show. Wally, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Phil. How about you guys?
I'm doing awesome. How's Arizona life treating you out there?
Hey, I'm sitting out by the motorhome. I didn't golf today because somebody called me this morning to do something, which would have been you. Or else I'd be out on the golf course right now.
Well, at least, I'm sorry to interrupt your golf game. I mean, you got a couple of more months left, so you can keep playing.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll play tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll play tomorrow. Wally, do me a favor, if you don't mind. I know Jeff's about to say it.
Yep.
Can you turn your phone the other way so we got that long angle instead of the horizontal?
That way?
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Perfect. We want to see that beard. That's the idolized beard that you have and have always had.
So Wally, I'm close.
He's getting there.
You're right there. You're right there.
Yeah.
I could have
tell
been
my
Santa
kids
Claus.
that's what I tell my kids. I was like, I'm shooting for Santa Claus. I even got the weight to go with it, so it's perfect.
Well, Wally, I want to thank
you, but trying to lose it at the same time.
Yeah, I hear you there.
Well, the holidays don't help.
No.
Well, first off, I want to thank you for taking away from your golf game on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon to join us on the show. I hope you heard everything that I said to intro you in and all the fun that we had at the beginning of the show talking about something that you were a part of. And I'm sure you're never going to forget, because I haven't forgot it. I know as a player and as a manager over the years, you've had a lot of special teams, but tell us a little bit about how that team compares to everything else you've done over your career and what that 86 team meant.
Well, the chemistry was so huge. We were not only a great team, but the chemistry was huge. We partied together. It wasn't 2 or 3 guys going out to a bar to have a drink. It was 15, 20 of us going out. So, we were like a pack of wolves when we went out. So, a very close team, very close team. I mean, we did a lot of things together that can't really talk about on the air, but we had a lot of fun.
No. We're a podcast. You could talk about anything you want. Go ahead. Yeah. We want to hear all about it. We want to hear about everybody. Well, I'm only kidding, buddy.
Yeah.
He knows.
Look, I know. Some of the stories that we heard in Newsday were not false. Let's just put it that way.
I would say you're pretty correct about that. Yeah.
What did that, other than the unity that you guys had as a team, and which I believe today is also lost because you're talking about contracts versus unity, and guys are just going to teams just to say I got these multi-year deals now. But tell me a little bit about how that unity came across when you guys played. Again, you could say party, how tight you guys were, but look how you guys fared out. When you party, you're not supposed to do well. So you partied and you still did well. That's a talented team in my book.
Well, we would go out with every intention to kick the other team's ass every night we got there. I can remember when the plane would hit the ground. I don't care if it was St. Louis, Pittsburgh, whatever it was. We would stand up. Guys would actually stand up while the plane's taxiing and say, "We're here. We're here to kick your ass and chase your women." So, I mean, that's the way that it was. I mean, we were a wild bunch.
No doubt about it. We're here to kick your ass and take your women. Sounds like a slogan for a political guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was mayor back then? Was it Koch? During that time,
I think it was Koch. Yeah.
That sounds like a mayor candidate or governor slogan.
Yep.
So it's funny that you said team chemistry. So because, Phil used to coach as well, but I coach kids now. And that's kind of one of what Phil was talking about in our first ever episode, by the way. He said they liked the fact that I brought old school back to East Boynton Beach down here. Because I'm not for the whole everybody gets an award and everybody should get a pat on the back. It's okay, buddy. No, I don't have time for that crap. So because I grew up in the 80s and 90s and then we got yelled at. I mean, as you know, Wally, that's exactly what happened. So I was one of those guys where I wanted to build that team bond. That chemistry has to come first before we go onto the field. And if you guys can't do that, then this isn't going to work. And again, I'm not trying to bring it up again, but I did do that, and I'm going to, because actually I have a mother that's listening that I had her kid on the team, and she's the one that actually brought it to my attention that this team is so connected on and off the field. It's like they can't do anything wrong. Right. They got each other's backs. And that's what I wanted to ask you, as far as I know, we're going to talk 86 a lot, I'm sure, but you going from as a player to a coach, how did you take that to, guys that are in their 20s and 30s now?
Well, I took the old school back into the game when I managed, but I also used the new school things too, the sabermetric stuff and all that kind of stuff, which everybody always thinks that Wally Backman's just the old school type of guy. But there is a lot of the old school that needs to come back into the game. You got to be able to yell at guys. You got to be able to call guys out when they need to be called out. And I think they appreciate that when you do it. Now when you talk to a group of guys, or you're having some sort of conversation to try to get something through somebody's head that's in there, you can't use their name, and I understand that. You can't point them out, but I like to be able to point guys out. I got called out a few times, and when you get called out in front of your peers, I think it brings the best out of you. You know, you may be pissed off at me for calling you out in front of your peers, but the next thing that's going to happen is it's not going to happen again. So,
Correct.
a lot of the old school needs to come back into the game. You know, chemistry is huge. You still have to have the talent. There's no doubt. You know, when I was managing the last few years, you know, you get to pick and choose your own guys, and I would go to the case to call agents, to call organizations, find out what type of guy they are. You know, you get organizations say, well, you know, he likes to go out. He's a little bit wild out there. That don't bother me. If he's going to come and give me 100% on the field, I'll take you. So, the old school has to come back into the game because they're ruining the game. They're ruining the game. The money is a huge issue, I know, but I tip my hat to every player that's played the game and how much money they're making today in the game. That's great for them. But you got to be a unit. You got to be together when you go out on that field, and it can't be about the money. It's about winning a ring.
Yeah. And it's funny you said that because we had Tom Glavine on 2 weeks ago, and we brought that up to him as well as we thought what he thought of the game so far. And I think all three of us at that time all agreed at the same thing, right? We all agreed the game needs to kind of go back to old school in a way. I mean, I understand some of the new stuff because everybody's kind of catering to that younger generation, right? I mean, the younger generation doesn't want to see a 5-hour baseball game. They want to see it in 2.5. And then they want to make sure they can jump on their phones or their iPads or whatever they have so they can monitor what's going on. And Glavine agreed with some of that to an extent, but he also agreed with Phil and I that you need to go back to old school because that's really what baseball is, man. I mean, baseball, even back if you go back into the Babe Ruth era, I mean, that guy lived off of beer and hot dogs, and he's in the Hall of Fame and cigars, and he's one of the greatest hitters and pitchers to ever play the game. But it's like they had 4-hour games. What's the problem?
You know, I agree. I think the game is the game within the game, and you know they've made some adjustments. I was in that Atlantic League, and we were the first league to start trying some of the different things that we did. You know, start with the runner at second base. It works during the season, and I get why they do it to try to speed it up a little bit. But if you're a true baseball fan, you don't care if the game's 2.5 hours or 4 hours long. It doesn't matter to you, I don't think. I mean, because before you know it, the game's over anyway. And having no timeline where a game can end that's what makes baseball a great sport.
Yeah, I mean the rule of having somebody come on on the second base right in the first part of the extra inning. I'm like, what in the hell are we doing, man? Like, I could see if this went to 13 innings. Okay, if we're trying to get through it, I get it, whatever. But I mean, let them play the extra. I mean, that's free baseball, man. Like, if you paid a ticket, that's free baseball I get to watch now. Why are you trying to speed up the process? So, I mean, I have cousins that are obviously a lot younger than me, but they live for the free baseball thing, man. Like, they're praying for extra innings. It's like, I get to watch more baseball. I mean, why are we shutting it down?
It's a great question that I can't answer, but that's what they've done to the game. I think it's part of what's ruined some of the game, you know. And so, you know, with that being said, I want to see a guy have to lay down a bunt or steal a base and make something happen in extra innings to try to win a game instead of just getting a free pass at second base.
Look, both of you guys we're going to be on this show for like 3 hours because I can't stand the shit that we're doing right now. I'm being real. Wally and I talk about it all the time. Again, we have that relationship where him and I could talk baseball all day long and do, you know, understand, because he told me when they brought out the robotic umpires and they brought out this crap about wanting to move the stupid mound back, and what are we trying to freaking do? The game has been around for how long now? Why are we trying to change it? And when did being a guy that actually physically has to think in a baseball game instead of actually, oh, well, this guy tells me to do it this way, so I'm just going to do no. If you got to lay down a bunt and you got to bring across a run, or you have to move a runner over, it's called small ball. What the fuck happened to small ball? What happened to it?
It's gone.
Seriously.
I mean, hey, the players today, just think about this, okay? I'm the center fielder. What do I do when the next hitter comes up? I take my freaking hat off and I look at my hat, and I'm supposed to go 3 steps to my right and 1 step in.
Yep.
If you can't remember 9 freaking players that are playing on a field, or a pitcher that you faced 50 times, you have to go look at the video to see what he's done to you.
Yeah.
You can't remember a starting pitcher that you faced for 5 or 10 years.
Wally,
They got
I remember
iPads.
Wally, I remember pictures that I faced when I was freaking 12 years old that struck me out, and I'm still pissed at.
Wally, they
So,
got iPads in the freaking
I
in the
remember.
freaking tunnel.
yeah.
They got iPads in the tunnel. We
They're
were
trying to
bitching
make
and
it too
complaining
easy,
about
like-
that 2 years ago that Houston did a whole freaking scandal. Now we got an iPad and the guy's got a walkie-talkie in his ear.
Yeah.
What the hell's
Yeah,
going
no.
on?
They can't just play the game by themselves. You know, they're all talented athletes. There's no doubt about it. But
Agreed.
you know what? There's a lot of other stuff involved in a baseball game, and you got to be able to use your mind. You gotta use your head, and they've taken that away from the player and made it. It's right here in front of you. Just look at the note that you put in your baseball hat, or whatever it might be. So to me, it's that part has changed the game. It's not for a person that played the game. I know I could remember all 9 hitters that were coming to bat, and I knew exactly how to play them. And I knew exactly how to play somebody if they pinch hit, brought up a guy in to pinch hit. So you shouldn't have to have the meetings. You got to see some of the meetings that they have in the big leagues. When I would go up, when I was managing the AAA team for the Mets, some of the meetings that they had, if I was a player, I would have fell asleep during the meetings.
Probably because you were out partying all night. Plus, the meeting was shit.
Yeah.
The meeting was shit. It was boring, and I was out till freaking 4 o'clock in the morning. Can I go to bed, please? Just call me when we got to hit BP.
No, they had stuff to get you ready for the game.
Yeah, yeah, Bloody Marys.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I mean, look, seriously, again, we can have fun with all this stuff. I love the game, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, that I don't understand why we're trying to change it a little bit. And Glavin and I went back and forth a little bit. He agreed with some of the things I said. He didn't agree with some of the other things I said. And look, game is all about opinions anyways, right? You know, there's opinions in scouting, there's opinions and projections and players. So it's all opinion. But in my opinion, right now, we don't need to stop what has made this game as good as it has been for all those years prior, which why we had an 86 series. Guy didn't hit a home run when you guys won game 6. I mean, Mookie hit it right between the stupid guy's legs. That guy moved to Alaska after that shit. I mean, seriously.
You know, there's not enough. Phil, you guys, there's not enough baseball people in the game of baseball. I'll just make one little story real quick. When I first went back to the Mets to manage in the minor leagues, I had a 22 or 23-year-old kid. We're having a meeting, all the minor league coaches. We're having a meeting, and this guy is trying to explain to us how to manage a baseball game. The guy never played. He's trying to. I held my hand up like I was in school, and I'm not going to say the kid's name because he's still in baseball.
No,
I held my hand up like I was in school, in grade school, and says, "You know what? You ought to be fucking managing the team over there on the other side of the field and take Terry Collins' job if you're so smart."
Yeah.
But that's what you have in the game today. You have people that are the analytic people, never played the game.
Nope.
Trust me, they've come up with some good stuff, analytics has. But the stuff that you use and the stuff that works are two different things.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm not saying analytics doesn't play a part in it. It absolutely does, but it doesn't play the entire part. It's not even 90%. It's not even 30% of it, in my opinion.
No,
it's
not.
It's about 5 to 10% of the game, and then the rest is intuition. I mean, everything, instincts, planning, looking at things from a how the game is going scenario. Everything that baseball is all about quick movements. And I said it to Glavin. I said, you had to go for a lefty specialist. All right. So everybody in the bullpen was a lefty specialist, whatever. But the point I was trying to make with Glavin is you had people that you knew could dominate against this guy and get you an out. What's wrong with that? Now we're trying to change that too.
Yeah, it's, they've got so many different phases. Now you look at the pitchers, if they get 5 innings, a starter, that's good today. You don't see many guys getting the 200 innings anymore.
No.
5 innings?
No. Yeah.
I mean, the only guy that I know, and I'll say who this was we used to bury Scott Sanderson when he was with the Cubs. I think it was the Cubs or the Expos, one of the two. This guy would come up with a sore back after the fifth inning if he's winning by a run. Every freaking game he started, this guy would be making $30 million a year right now.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. That's the difference between then and now, man. Like, get some of these players. And I mean, I've known Glavine for a long time, but he and I had talked back when I worked at another radio station, and I asked him, you know, I don't want to know what you made back in the 90s. That's none of my business. I said, but what are you worth now?
Good question.
And he said, right now, yeah, I'd probably sitting about $20 to $35 million. And I went, you're feeling pretty bad right now. He goes, yeah, thanks for bringing it up, Jeff. Appreciate that. I just never wanted to throw myself off the bridge more in my life.
Right? Seriously.
You know, I don't think, because Tommy and I, we played against each other for years too, you know, and I think the Brave guys, when they had Maddox and Tommy and those guys, they played the game to win. That's all you cared about. You didn't care about, the money wasn't an issue. Now it's become a huge issue.
Yeah.
So you were still getting paid good. In our era, we still got paid good.
I do have a weird question.
Worried about the ring.
I do have a weird question for you. I don't know if you've been asked this before or not. If you have, and then you can repeat whatever answer you've given somebody else. That's fine. But as far as we named off all these people on the 86 Mets earlier, and I got this written down that I wanted to ask you. Who was your favorite player? As far as who was the player that in your mind was the guy that set everything off? I mean, obviously, I know everybody's going to say Strawberry, right? I have a different person, but I just want to see what your opinion is on that.
Okay, so I'll tell you. One player that as a complete person?
If you're the manager of the 86 Mets, pick one player that you have to pick that one player to build your team around from the 86 Mets. Who is it?
Wally Backman.
He's the manager. You can't make.
I would say Gary Carter. I really would. I know everybody wants to say Keith, but let me tell you, Gary Carter had to run a pitching staff that was a young pitching staff. And you don't win without pitching. When you build a baseball team, you build that team right straight through the middle of the lineup. That's so you've got from your catcher to center fielder, and then everybody else, we all get added. We got to have good defense. So you got your shortstop, your second baseman. Your corner guys are power guys. But the catcher is the leader. I mean, you look at what Molina did in St. Louis. You think that they win without Molina behind the plate? No chance.
Nope. No.
So I got to say Gary Carter. That's why
I love it. I couldn't agree with you more. We had, again, I think we didn't say that with Glavine. We said that with Mark. Yeah. Giraffe Neck Mark, who's a big fan of the show now, and we're a fan of his. He's a huge Met guy. But Gary Carter to me was what gelled everything together. From a defensive standpoint, from a hitting standpoint, from a team camaraderie standpoint. He may not, I don't know if he was the biggest partier in the world. I don't think he was. It didn't seem like he was, but he may be able to tell me that differently. But two, I just all around, like you said, all around person from a manager's perspective, I want Gary Carter behind that damn plate.
Yeah, I mean, Keith was the leader in the infield.
Yep.
He led by example. He knew Keith knows baseball very well. There's no question. So those were the last two additions, I think, that we really came up with. And when Frank Caston was general manager, and by adding Keith and adding Gary, that's what put us over the hump in New York.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. Who do you, out of all those guys, who do you stay in touch with the most right now?
I talk to Keith a lot still. We talk on the phone. He would call me all the time, especially when I was in the organization, about players that were coming up out of AAA and stuff like that. But, we generally feel we have every year we do some sort of get together where, 75, 80% of the guys are still there and come to it. So, and we do it in New York just about every winter. So,
yeah. That's awesome that they do get together like that. I think I've seen something. You were just at fantasy camp too, weren't you? Are you there every year now?
I went there for both weeks this year. I used to go all the time, and then somebody wiped me out of that for a while.
I know who it is.
It used to be the GM for the Mets. So
yeah. Got it.
But now
well,
I'm back, so it's fun.
yeah, I
It's
was
a
gonna
blast.
say, yeah, I'm glad I'm glad the new GM came to his senses and the new ownership came to their senses because you belong there. I mean, come on, again, that was most memorable team again, in my opinion, and you guys should be honored. That's like when George and Yogi were getting into it for years. And then finally they invited Yogi Berra back. I mean, no, I don't know if everybody remembers that, but Yogi wasn't even allowed in Yankee Stadium.
You know, I do think Steve Cohen, when he took over the Mets, was a great thing because
Oh, no doubt.
he made sure he brought us all back for that old timers
Yep.
deal a couple of years ago, and that was big. That was big for somebody to do something like that because it had never been done before, which was shocking and surprising that the Mets never did that for that '86 team. We're the last team to win a World Series. They never brought us back until just then. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. What I know you're getting ready to celebrate your 41st birthday, and what's life after baseball look for you, or look like for you when you decide to kind of, play golf more and do the things that you probably can, like what's some of your aspirations that you want to do when you eventually stop managing and everything else? Because I know I'm still trying to get you a job, and I'm gonna get you a job. That's my promise to you, because we need more guys like you back in baseball. Period. End of story. I'll say it right now on air. All of our listeners need to understand what this man does in the clubhouse, how he handles
you
it.
just had a comment on Facebook right
Who's
here.
that?
It's Mark Johnson said, "This is a great interview. Wally is one of the smartest baseball men."
No doubt. Not one of them. He is the smartest baseball man because he knows the game. He knows how to manage it. He knows how to play it. That makes you an all-around guy. I mean, and you do a great interview, so keep going.
I was going to say, once Phil gets you a job, I'm available. If you want to bring on a assistant, just let me know.
I won't tell him what our deal is. I won't say over the air what our deal is. He knows what I'm talking about. But just tell me what it looks like after baseball. I'm sorry. You there?
Oh, I don't know. Hopefully we didn't.
Yeah, I'm here, but I'm not hearing much.
Okay. Well, basically what my question was what does life after baseball look for you when you do decide to, start hanging them up and living life going forward?
I think that, I mean, it's hard as long as I've been in this game to say that I want to totally be out of the game, but I mean, I'm getting older. My wife and I come down here to Arizona for 3 months. I haven't hooked up with anybody yet for this coming season, and my plan is to go from here and go home for a few months, and then go down to the coast and fish on my boat that my brother and I bought during the pandemic year, and I haven't fished on it since, and do some halibut and salmon fishing and things like that, and go to the coast for 2 or 3 months, and then start all over again.
Yep. No, good.
Well, I don't know if you heard me, but once Phil gets you a job, you go ahead and hire me as an assistant. You just let me know. I'm there.
You got it.
I'm there.
Get to work, Phil.
I am. Trust me. I mean, listen. Even before I talked to him today, and I finally got the balls to ask him to come on the show because we were talking yesterday. I'm like, I don't want to ask him. He's on vacation. He wants to relax. And then he butt dialed me today, and I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to ask him. He butt dialed me. But no, seriously, seriously, I can't understand. Baseball needs him.
Yeah.
Baseball needs him now, especially because of the guy that he is, of the person that he is as a manager, as a player, and everything he brings to the game. And not that I don't have great conversations about him with other people within front offices. They are all interested, but I think they're scared because of what we have been talking about. That is, the game is taking a little bit of a turn in a different direction, and that's why it stays that way. And that's what they want to protect. Am I right? You think?
Yeah, you are right. I mean, you got to be able to take a little bit of the new with the old. And everybody thinks that I'm 100% old school, and that's not true.
No.
What happens in the game? I'm honest. I can tell you right now. I'm totally honest. I can tell you that there's coaches in the minor league system for the Mets that have no business being there. They can't teach. They're there for one reason, and you know what I call them? They're called check collectors. All they worry about is collecting their check because they can't teach. I got guys over there that I know. I wouldn't let them teach my grandson baseball, and that's a fact.
Yep.
Or they're just puppets to the end all, or not the end all be all, but the whole evolve of what they're doing.
100%. That's what they are. 100%. You
I'll
need
call it
quality teachers.
I'll call it right now. Aaron Boone's a puppet.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. He's a puppet.
Yeah.
He don't make that lineup. Brian Cashman does.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say, Wally, I'm going to say this, kind of, I'm going to piggyback off Phil, is I don't know if baseball is what needs you. I think the youth in baseball that's coming into this stuff is the ones that need you, because I can tell you, like I said, when I just coached a bunch of 10, 11, and 12-year-old kids, and I went old school, they responded, and they responded, like I said, 16-0. They wanted to make sure they got that. They didn't want to hear me complain. I was doing a show one night, and I'm watching the game on my phone, and we're down 4-0, and I called a parent and said, take that phone into the dugout and put it on speakerphone immediately. He walks over, puts it on, and the guy, hey, coach, I said, what the hell are you guys doing? This isn't how we play.
Yep.
I said, so help me God, if there's not 5 to 6 runs at the next inning, you all are running on Saturday until you throw up. Mark my words. Goodbye. And I hung the phone up, and that inning they put up 8 runs. And the coach texted me and said they didn't want to run.
That's it.
You got to bring it back.
That's old school.
You got to bring it back.
That part of the game has to be back in the game.
Agreed.
And if you can't bring it back in the game, there's no reason to be in the game.
I agree.
I mean, if I'm in those independent leagues, and I do what I want. I pick the players that I want, and I say what I want, and they perform. They've performed every year that I've done it. So, with that being said, it's got to be able to come back to baseball. If you can't blow your dugout up when you give up 4 runs or make 4 errors in an inning or whatever, physical errors are going to happen. But when they turn into mental mistakes, that's unheard of. That's uncalled for. So, you got to be. There's ways to do it. I've had to learn from getting finger pointed in a clubhouse by my managers in the minor leagues, and you got to learn to be able to accept the. It's what am I trying to think? It's good for you. I mean, it really is good for you because you're not going to make those mistakes again, or you're going to try to better yourself. And players today, you know what they do? Phil knows. If their player's pissed off at me, what do? They call their agent. The agent calls the farm director. And it just goes round and round in circles. So that's what players do today because they haven't been taught. I think the mental part of the game, that part of the stuff, the way it should have been taught to them. They
don't know adversity. They don't know what it is to go through adversity. They don't know what it is to go through challenges or how to earn something. We're in a lot of it, what we're doing too with our league. Well, I've talked to you a little bit about this with our project that we're doing. And, one of the reasons why I got back into this is because of how bad I say get back into this, meaning like on the side of doing a travel league and because of my kids playing it and everything else, is how bad it's gotten as a money grab and how things are being taught to where we earn something when you didn't earn something. And literally you didn't win. What did you earn? Let me ask you this question. In all your years, other than 86, did you get anything when you lost?
No, you're the first loser if you take second place.
That's right.
Yes.
There's no trophy for that.
Amen.
That's right.
Amen. And that's what I'm trying to teach these, and I'm trying to build with my team of such dedicated individuals. Our entire board, Jeff's one of them, and all of our people, Joe and Daniel and Nick and my wife and everybody that's involved with this is bringing it back to you don't win until you don't score until you score. You win when you win. You lose when you lose. And guess what? Learn from the loss to come back to win.
Absolutely. There's one thing I got to say. You just made it come to my head. Let's think about who won the last 3 World Series. Who were the managers that won the last 3 World Series? Are they old school guys?
Or are they
these young new guys?
I was saving it for, I'm not kidding you. It's been in my head since you said yes.
One of them was my guys. I'm just throwing that out there.
Bochy, Go ahead. Let's talk the rest. Who else?
Yeah, Bochy.
Snicker,
Who?
Brian Snicker.
Thank you. Next.
Yeah.
One more.
Next.
Wally, who is it? We had Bochy, we had Tinker, and who else?
You just
Made me draw a blank, Phil. I hate you.
I'll
Who
wait.
was it? Tell me.
Tell
me. Come on.
It's an hour show. I'll wait.
God.
I'm actually stumped myself. Sorry.
No,
So who
I'm
was the
stumped
team?
myself.
No, it's
So
we
it
had,
was the Braves,
you had Braves.
and then it was
You had Braves. You had
Oh,
the
Why did I forget
Rangers.
Dusty?
Rangers.
Dusty
Dusty
Baker.
Baker.
Yeah.
Thank you.
God. We're all stupid,
yes.
I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
You think of it. That's they
I
do
lost
the new
it
stuff,
after.
but they're the old school guy.
Yeah.
Well, again, the old look. They got rid of guys like you to bring in the younger people, so that way they can say, "Well, we're getting younger, and and they can adapt to these." No, they're babying these players because
Yes.
the young guy that doesn't know baseball ain't teaching them anything. He's not only not teaching them anything, he's not riding their ass.
That's right.
Ride his ass.
it's
Get into the
ride 'em.
damn freaking ride his ass. Get into the bullpen. Give me 150 pitches, and then come back the next day and want the freaking ball.
It's funny because you think about a coach or you think about a manager, and you don't have to play the game. There's been some great guys that never played in the big leagues. Jimmy Leland's one of them, one of the best managers I ever played for. But
Guys
he
like
earned
Earl,
his
man.
respect. He earned his respect. But you think about coming up through a system. I don't care if it's the Yankees, the Mets, the Cardinals, whoever, whatever system it is. When you as a manager sit a player down and you tell him you got to do something, do whatever it might be,
Mhm.
you want somebody that's been in that situation before,
Mm-hmm.
that knows
Yeah.
what it's like to play in front of 55,000 people, and you're trying to groom this kid to be a major league player.
That's right.
I want a guy like that. I could say
Yeah.
that I was one of the most fortunate guys. I played for some of the greatest managers in baseball. Joe Torre was my first manager. Davey Johnson I played for. Jimmy Leland I played for. Lou Piniella I played for. So I played for the greatest managers in my era for sure and beyond
Of all
that-
time.
these guys of all time. So
Yep.
I felt lucky, and I felt like I learned a little bit from each one of them. And there's other managers that I played for, but those guys in particular, I took a piece of what I learned from those guys, even when I was 21 years old, when I went to the big leagues, or 20, from Torrey. I learned a lot of things from this guy down the road that you figure out, fuck, I should have listened to Joe more than I listened to him, or whatever. But they all had something to give.
Yep. Well, I mean, look, I want to touch back on that scenario. Bochy won with not only a team that nobody would have ever imagined in a million years would have been in the freaking World Series this year.
Nope.
Period. He won with that team. He also won with a team, same scenario. Did you think San Francisco had a legitimate team that year when they won?
No.
To make it? No, it's managing. It's
Most out of
managing
his
your players.
That's what it is.
100%. Respect
You-
of your players. I can't tell you how many people I've dealt with that
Mhm.
I've said, you're going to Wally. And they're like, why? I said, because he knows how to freaking teach the game. He has played the game. He's coached the game. He's managed the game. He's done everything. You're going to Wally. Well, no. You want me to represent you? You're going to him. Because he's going to teach you how to get back to wherever you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
Or get up to where you're trying to go. That's why you're going to Wally.
Yeah.
Wally, how many
You
guys
know,
have I sent you over the years?
I couldn't even tell you, but a lot.
Yep.
It's like, Jeff, one of the things is I get these players from Phil or whoever, lots of different people, but what I try to do is get them back to affiliated baseball. I mean, I made our organization, our owner on Long Island, $250,000 last year by selling players back to affiliates or overseas or wherever it might have been.
Tell
But
him how much you
nobody
made him. Tell him how much you made him when before Rick decided to be greedy and asked for 20 or 15,000 and it was only $5,000. How much did you make him that year?
Oh, when it was only
$5,000,
Yeah. How much did that year?
almost 100,000
When it was $5,000.
player. Yeah,
Wow.
5,000 a player. It was the number. The number has changed in the sense that to make
the money. You don't have to
sell as many players anymore, and that's one of the things that I didn't like about the league, because I think that they've outpriced it. They've taken some of the smaller organizations, whoever you want to say, the Diamondbacks, Pirates, organizations like that, Oakland, they're not going to pay that $15,000 for those players.
Nope.
No.
And so all we've done is, instead of helping the player, we've actually hurt them. But all those other leagues have done the same thing.
We basically have said now, hey, you're stuck here, instead of what those guys' goals are to get back to affiliate or whatever. And again, I got into the business of being a sports agent because I wanted to help people. And I've gone out on a limb, and Wally will tell you this, guys that most agents wouldn't take. Why? Because they're just not making any money off of them. I make zero money off of anybody that I send over to Wally Backman if he's in the Atlantic League coaching or managing, whatever. I make zero money, $0. But I have to go through all the hoopla to get him there. But I call Wally. I mean, Wally, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I sent you many guys that you said to me, what? They should be in the big leagues, right?
Yep.
And the reason they're not in the big leagues is because somebody basically told them that if you don't throw 99, you're not in the big leagues. You can't be in the big leagues right now.
They're all so many of the younger new scouts are so worried about spin rates and velocities and things like that.
Yeah.
I can go all the way back to Matt Harvey. Okay, I had him in AAA. Come to my office every day. When am I going to the big leagues? When am I going to the big leagues? Do you want to know the truth about the big leagues? I had a guy that threw his average fastball, Matt Harvey's average fastball was 92.4 miles an hour. His first game that he pitched in Colorado, he hit 100. So, are the guys a little hot in the big leagues?
Yeah.
When a guy's turning on a fastball that's 102 miles an hour, you're going to tell me that's a true 102 miles an hour? It is out of his hand.
Yeah.
We've got to go back
agreed.
and you got to think about the day. They never the velocity was when it crossed home plate. Look at the guy's velocity when it's 100 out of his hand, and look what it is when it crosses home plate.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Most people don't understand that.
And we talked money earlier, and I mean, go back, like, again, we could go back in time with some of these other guys, but I always use, like, with kids that don't throw hard that I'm dealing with now, and they're like, oh, I want to throw really fast. And I'm like, listen, dude, I said, go home and watch YouTube tonight. Put on Greg Maddux. That guy never threw over 88 miles an hour, but he would strike you out quicker than anything because he could place where he wanted that ball to go. And I said, it wasn't so much that he placed it. He was confident when he threw because he knew it was coming and he knew you weren't going to hit it. And I was like, that's the name of the game. I said, just think of how much, like we were talking earlier, how much is Nolan Ryan worth if he were to play right now in his prime,
right,
in this league right now? Are you kidding me? And he's throwing 13 innings a game.
There you go.
Not 5.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
Tell us who was the toughest pitcher you feel like you've ever faced during your career.
Nolan's one of them. One of them.
Yeah, I knew you faced him, but we already said his name, so now pick another one. Tell us another guy that you would have said that's not on the blow up the radar scenario that carved you up, and then you're like, man, I can't do anything with this guy.
It was shit. It was.
Don't worry, we got an hour.
Martinez. It was the guy from
Pedro.
No, not Pedro. What was the other Martinez? Played in Montreal.
Oh, Pedro did too.
He did. That's where he started.
Yeah, Pedro did too, but it wasn't Pedro. It was Martinez, the guy with the big breaking ball. Had two different big breaking balls.
Dennis.
Come on, you guys have got it.
No.
Dennis Martinez. Yes, that's who it was. So anyway, I got a quick story. This doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while, I was in Pittsburgh and playing for the Pirates, and the catcher, I'm not going to say his name, but I played with him in the minor league, so you have to figure that one out yourself. And I'm leading off the game in Pittsburgh, and he says, Wally, what do you want off this guy? And I says, what do you mean? He says, I said, throw me a fastball on the outer half. I'll tell you, Joe West was the umpire in this game, and he heard every word that was being said. And I said, give me a fastball out of the plate, right? I took it, fastball, strike one. I thought he was screwing with me and not going to do it. And he says, do that one more time. So I hit a line drive off of Martinez, or Yeah. I hit a line drive, hit him in the collarbone, broke his collarbone in the first inning. Line drive off his collarbone, broke it straight to the third baseman, out. I hit the ball so hard, and I was still out.
Oh,
But he's a guy I just had no luck. I mean, he was good. He had two really good breaking balls, and he was a good pitcher.
Other than the 86 Mets, who was your next favorite organization?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, I actually worked for the White Sox. If you're talking about as a player, probably it would have been Pittsburgh playing for Jim Leland. You know, I screwed up there and left. I let Lenny convince me to go to Philadelphia for a couple of years, and that was a big mistake. I should have stayed and played for the Pirates for legal.
Dykstra is the one who told you to go there?
Yep.
No shit. Really?
That's how
He
stupid
told
I
you to
was.
he told you to leave to leave the Pirates to go with him when he went over there? Holy
No, he tried to get me to come over there.
Wow.
Hey, hold on. I got to turn my...
You got to get going?
you got to go?
We'll
have you on next week.
Come over.
That's all right. Well,
you guys call me. I'll do it next week.
Go do your thing. Listen, I can't thank you enough, Wally, for coming on. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you for allowing me to go along or on this ride with you and try to help you out. So enjoy your off season. We'll get you back on the show soon.
You better give me a good job.
I am.
Hey, I'm piggybacking, Wally. I'm looking for that assistant job with you, so I'm going to be on his ass about it.
No, here's what I'm doing. I'm calling Steve Cohen on the way friggin' home.
All right, Doug.
Actually, you know what? Let's call him on the air right now and ask him.
I'm doing a podcast next week with you guys. Okay, next week.
Done.
Find me a job.
Absolutely
done.
Go enjoy.
All right. Hey, Wally Backman. All right.
How cool is that?
I like that guy.
Wally's the best, dude. Like, and you know what, man? I'll tell you how I met him real quick. Obviously, it wasn't just watching him on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a guy who unfortunately was released. And again, I when I set out to do what I'm doing now as a career, I made a promise to myself that I would never abandon a player that really truly wanted to play still. Because look, I still have to feed my family. This is how I earn a living. Yeah. This is what I chose to do. I knew the risks, I knew the rewards, but I made a promise that I wouldn't. If there was a time when I felt like he was no longer going to have an opportunity, I would be honest with him, not blow smoke up his ass.
You have to be.
And say, look, here's the deal. I think it's time. Now, if you think you still want to keep going, we can still keep going. But if I get nothing out of it, know that I'm still trying, but baseball's kind of trying to tell you something at this point, right? Yeah. So fast forward, I get a guy like that who's just like, I'm not done. And I'm like, okay. So I called a few teams, and when I called the teams, I was, just playing the player. Yeah, thanks. We'll appreciate it. We'll let you know. And then somehow, some way, I didn't even know it was Wally. And I got the manager or the general manager's number for the Long Island Ducks, or the manager. No, general manager.
Mm-hmm.
So I talk to the general manager, no answer. Doesn't call me back. And I was like, let me call the manager. Let me find out who the manager is. And I called my friend Billy Horn. I said, Billy, who's the manager over at the Long Island Ducks? I said, Wally Backman. I said, no shit. I said, all right. You have his number? Yeah, give me a call. Or give me, if you can get it for me, give it to me. So he does. And I call him. Since that day, that man and I have been friends.
Yeah, he seems like that kind of guy.
It didn't happen like that overnight.
And I agree with Mark, by the way, on here. Mark Johnson, by the way, he said he needs his own podcast. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
No, absolutely.
I would listen to his podcast.
I would 100% listen to it.
I'd rather him be on ours.
Well, yeah. Mark, Mark, we want him on as a guest. We don't want to compete with him. You know what I mean? We'll lose.
Come on, Mark.
No, but seriously. So the relationship grew to where all of a sudden he's calling me, asking me, hey, man, I like what you're doing. Can you help me out? And ask me to represent him. Bro, how cool is that? And again, life comes full circle and everything else. I watched this guy when I'm 8 years old.
Yeah.
Playing on a diamond and winning a World Series and having some of the best experiences of his life, now managing, doing all this stuff. And all of a sudden he thought enough of me because he saw the drive in me to help him.
Yeah.
He had an agent back then.
Yeah.
He had asked his old agent. He asked me.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why is because we have that kind of relationship to where we're baseball guys.
Yeah.
And I'm a baseball guy. He's a baseball guy. We don't always agree on everything, but you could see we agree on a lot of the different things that are going on with the game right now. And I keep saying this, I'm not here to bag on the game anymore, man. It's not that I'm bagging on it. We need more guys like Wally Backman. We need more people that he brought up an excellent point. Look at the managers that it won over the last 3 seasons.
Old school.
If that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what will.
Yeah. Well, and I think,
and Dustin,
I agree with him
coming back.
That's what I heard. And again, it's like he made the comment. This is all about money now. This has nothing to do with yes, they're coming to win a ring. Don't get me wrong, but this is all about money. And if anybody tells me that it's not, they're full of crap.
Yep.
Anybody that's going to make $700 million and you're going to sit here and tell me that you're there for the ring. If you're there for the ring, buddy, you'd have done it for a hell of a lot cheaper.
No doubt.
That's just me personally. But yeah, I wouldn't mind having him on again next week just to touch base on some other stuff. But
he's awesome, man. He could talk baseball with you. Obviously, he's got a tremendous wealth of knowledge of the game, and
I'd like to hear him and Glavine go back and forth.
We should get them both on the freaking show.
Yeah.
He gets me fired up because he's such a good dude, but he knows the game so much. You heard what he was saying with the small ball and different ideas of how managers thought back then and how he was taught.
Yeah.
We're just missing that fire, man. And he's got it. Like, you know what made me think of him, bringing him on the show? Dylan brought me a video. Once in a while we'll throw on YouTube and we'll, funny stuff, whatever. Yeah. Dylan was like, Dad, I never saw this one. And it was when he was reaming his guys in the clubhouse.
Oh yeah. You were telling me about that. Yeah.
It was the same thing I was saying earlier before we brought him on. That's how he got into them. Dylan's like, this is awesome. And I'm like, that's what a real manager does, son.
Exactly. And that's what needs to be back in baseball. Man.
Yeah. Well,
100%.
We're not listening to the moms in the bleachers anymore. You're now listening to me. I'm your manager. Okay. Yeah. That's where things are getting messed up. And I've had some experiences with that. So have you.
Oh yeah.
To where my son is, being affected because some mom or some parent, Drew back off, is deciding to run the team. When did you get qualified to be a manager?
Mm-hmm.
When did you become the manager?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hire you. I hired this guy over here.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem, and that's the problem, really, honestly, with just youth baseball in general, right? It's turning into nothing but.
But it's trickling up, Jeff.
Yeah, but I don't see how it's going to have to stop somewhere along the lines. You're going to get
7U.
Yeah,
I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
because what it's doing is we're being taught here. It's like T-ball.
Mm-hmm.
You get taught T-ball, then you go to coach pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Then after coach pitch, you go to kid pitch.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. From 7U, 8U, 9U, all of a sudden they're in high school and they're like, well, mom has been protecting me since 7U, so I'm good.
Yeah.
It don't work that way, son.
No.
You get into the real world, you got to earn.
Yeah.
You got to earn what you win. You have to earn what you get in life.
Yeah.
You have to fight for what you want in life. Baseball teaches you that, among other things in life.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I love this game so much and why I get aggravated on it. Because it has taught me how to fight for what I believe in, how to fight for something I want to do with my life, how to fight for opportunities.
Right. And again, I'm going to go back to what you said about from the I just saw this.
I like this guy. We're going to bring him on next week.
Mark's all right. I like this dude. And I'm close to what I was getting ready
to say.
He's
100% right.
What he had.
Say it.
So it's like he said here on the chat line. Parents are the reason why he stopped coaching kids.
Yep.
And that's really
sad.
It's sad. It really is. And I've made comments. I actually coached, and it wasn't even with my team. It was actually the opposing team. And I had to make a comment to them because it was nothing but just comments. And I walked over and I looked at the person and I said, they're 10.
Mm-hmm.
They're 10 years old.
Yeah.
They're not making millions.
Nope.
This isn't game 7 of the World Series.
Nope.
They're 10 years old. Back the hell up. Well, I can help from out here. Okay. You can also help in the parking lot too when you go sit in your car, because the last time I saw, I'm the one that volunteered to do this.
Right.
Not you. I did.
I have never criticized a good coach. I've criticized bad coaches.
Yeah.
And I've been accused of being a little bit boisterous not because of my kid, because I'm watching this Yoko Ono over here trying to be a coach and knows nothing about coaching, because if you're sitting on a bucket 2 feet away from the plate, you're an idiot. And I hope you get one in the jaw and hits your chiclets.
Yeah, because it's going to happen.
If you coach to where you're stealing and doing certain things at a certain level, you're an idiot and shouldn't be out there. And a parent shouldn't be giving you their money.
Yeah.
You have no business being out there.
Yeah.
That's the stuff. I've never got on my kid. I've never said, you're terrible. What are you doing? No, I've told my son to treat the game with respect. And, you don't yell at umpires. You don't look back at an umpire for making a call. You get in there, you turn the page, and you do your job.
Yeah.
And you come in there. There's no crying in baseball. Sorry, it's not cliches. There's no crying in baseball.
That's been my motto.
There's
for
no
years.
crying in baseball. You make a mistake, you learn from it.
Yeah.
Dad's never going to be upset with you if you make a mistake and you learn from it. I'm going to be upset with you when you put your head down and I'm sad now and I don't go out and get ready to do the next play.
Yeah.
And I'm also not going to be mad at you if you strike out, as long as you go down, strike out, and swing it.
That's
my motto. If you got a bad zone umpire, adjust.
Yeah, you got to adjust.
Those are the things I've taught my kid. Those are the things you're teaching your kid. These are the things that people forget how to do. And that's why baseball, from the youth level all the way up, has gotten a little bit carried away. I'm not saying it's unfixable. I think it's fixable, which was what we're trying to do right now with Florida East Coast travel. We're trying to show you didn't win anything. So what are you getting?
Yeah.
What did you get?
Well, I came in third place.
I don't care.
Oh, okay.
When I came in third place,
Here's a handshake.
I was pissed off to say, Jeff and I, hey, Jeff, we just came in third base against Sonic against Fire Department.
Oh, yeah.
Against Boynton Fire Department. We just came in. Danny Palmer was on that team and all these other kids and Jeff Vaughn and all these guys. and how are we going to beat them next year?
Mm-hmm.
We just came in third place. That's crap. We're better than them.
Yeah.
How do we get back to that spot? We don't learn that. We're just saying, you know what? Season's over. I'm going to get a ring.
Well, you made a comment about coaches and about, how coaches, get told from the fence. So my philosophy is this, and maybe it's stupid and corny, but bad coaches get coached from the fence. Good coaches coach themselves and critique themselves
great
at home.
slang. You need to put that on something.
And it really, that's how I look at it, right? I mean,
give that out when you coach next time.
Yeah, maybe I should. And it's
seriously handout.
Because that's the way I look at it, right? I mean, if you're coaching on the field, you're going to hear the comments coming from the outside going, hey, he should be doing this, or hey, why do you have when a guy's on first base and he's going to steal, why, and the guy's batting right-handed, why is your shortstop going over to cover second base?
Right.
It should be second base covering him, because if you go over here, there's a wide open hole and he's going to hit it there and you got nobody there. A good coach is going to see that and go, oh crap, I just saw that and I got to make that correction. And you make a little note down on your paper, or you make it in your brain. That's the way I look at it.
I had a coach one time that coached Dylan. Dylan was in coach pitch. Okay. I won't say where he was playing, but my wife could tell you this exact story. Ball was being thrown. Dylan was actually happened to be in right field because, they do all, and not because, but when he was playing right field, they rotate the kids. And not that right field's bad. Aaron Judge is making $300 million and plays right field. That's another bad
point.
Scenario that, I can't play the outfield. I have to play shortstop.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The guy in center field in the pros is making like a lot of money.
Yeah.
His name's Mike Trout.
Yeah. and Ohtani.
Oh, and Ohtani. Thank you. So, anyways, ball was thrown from across the diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my son go? He's in right field.
Where does he go?
Where was he at? Tell me where you think he was at. Sorry.
He's how old?
He was in coach pitch.
I'm going to say he was probably standing in right field.
He was backing up first base.
Thank you.
So the coach yelled at him and said, no, can't move. Stay there. I want you to stay there.
Huh?
I said, I'm going to lose my shit.
Yeah.
Don't teach my son how to do it the wrong way.
Bingo, El Ringo.
Don't teach him how to. This is the coach.
That's the problem, man. That's the problem.
Now, look, that was rec, and I get it, volunteer stuff. But this is a guy who probably wanted to coach.
Yeah.
I don't know too many people out there right now that coach that don't want to coach. Most of the people that are coaching are probably coaching because they want to. There's very few times these days where it used to be like when I was back in the day, hey, parents, can you help out? We're short a guy. There are very few times now.
Agreed.
Okay. So you're telling my kid how to do it the wrong way, of which is, I don't care what level you're at. That's where you're supposed to be. He's supposed to be backing up. And I'm going to tell you right now, the guy at third base didn't make a good throw.
Yeah.
They were freaking 6.
Yeah. Well, hey, that
7 years old.
That happened with Jackson, when he got into travel, and then I'm going to wrap this thing up here. But
yeah, we got to get sorry.
But yeah, he had the same thing. They put him in left field, and he took it as an insult because in rec he plays, second base, shortstop, first base, pitcher, catcher. He plays everywhere over there.
Yep.
And they put him in left field. He took it as a slap in the face, as did I, to be honest with you, because I know what my kid's ability is. And when I saw that he was one of the only few on the team that could actually, number one, when the ball gets hit in the air, what's your first move? And I told it, and everybody was like, all the kids are looking at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, he's the only one doing it right. You take a step back, and then you can adjust.
Otherwise, you're going to get beat.
Bingo. And I was like, so that's when I realized why they put him there. But he was the only one that would cover behind third base every freaking time. And that team in the beginning sucked, man. I'll be the first to tell you, they were freaking horrible.
Yep.
So by the end of the game, he's worn out because he's constantly going over here. And I'm like, looked at him. I'm like, yeah, maybe just set him down for an inning.
Right.
Let somebody else. And the guy flat out told me, the coach looked at me and says, I can't afford to.
Right.
He's the only one that does it.
Yep.
So
Listen,
sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's I always say, sometimes it's not the coach, it's the player. But unfortunately, with youth baseball, in my book, a lot of times it's not the player, it's the coach. And if the coach is doing it exactly, and if he's doing it the right way, or he's trying to do it the right way, I can't get mad at you if you're trying to do it the right way and it just doesn't work.
Know what you're talking about.
But
though.
yes, that's what I'm getting at.
Know what you're talking about.
If you're talking something that's right and you're teaching something that's right and they're just not grasping it, I'm okay with that.
Look, last thing, I have been involved in this game my entire life, period.
Yep.
Sorry, since I'm 4 years old. Okay. I was taught the right way to play the game. And I taught when I coached how to play the game the right way. And I didn't get paid for many, many years. We talked about this earlier on in our shows.
Yeah. You got the banners to prove it.
Yep. All volunteer without having kids.
Yeah.
So I went to a place where I knew people were at that were those type of individuals. Some of them did not have their kids in there anymore, i.e. Jack McVeigh. Johnny was already gone by the time I started over there. Jesse Russo, he didn't have kids.
Yeah.
Mark Pisty's kid was done playing.
Yep.
So these are people that were there because Mark Brooker, kid was not even around. So all these people wanted to give back. I was around all those people. I never fault anybody for trying and to try to teach, but at least know what you're talking about.
100%.
Or at least find out what the right words are, how to say it, how to teach. I'm not saying you're going to know everything I don't know everything about baseball. I'll be the first one to admit it. I learned from guys like Wally.
Yeah.
Because they got better experience than I did. I didn't play at that level.
I don't think you ever really know everything there is
to know
about baseball.
You or anything in life.
Yeah, you learn something every day.
What do we teach our kids? You can learn something every day.
Every day.
You're getting taught something every day in life.
It's just
baseball's no different.
Yep.
And on that note, Jeff, absolutely phenomenal show this
Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year.
Thank
you to everybody. We'll see you next time on the Diamond every Tuesday from 5 to 6.